Okay, earlier today I put out a video called Holy Crap, Look What They Did While We Were Distracted with Impeachment. Now, the reason I did this video is because a lot of people are too busy trying to put food on their tables, trying to clothe their kids, trying to put a roof over their family's head, and they do not have time to go through a 2,313-page frickin' bill. It's actually two bills called minibus bills. And it really infuriates me because we're so busy trying to make money so that we can support our families that nobody's got time to look into this thing. We got the foxes in control of the hen house and just ripping feathers everywhere, and chickens are flying everywhere. Heads are coming off, blood spattering everywhere. This is literally fiscally what's happening here. Okay, guys. This is the two minibus bills are HR 1158 and HR 1185. HR 1158 deals with showing the text of the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2020, and 1865 is further consolidated appropriations. And I'm not even going to scratch the surface when I show you what I'm about to show you. But in this first appropriations bill, Division C, Financial Services and General Government Appropriations Act, under Title IV, under District of Columbia, which is going to be page 344. And look, guys, this bill right here is 540 pages long, and this bill right here is 1,773 pages long. And don't tell me that every congressman and senator who signed off on this bill took the time to read every line, every word, every page. No way. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. This should piss every single one of us off. I want you to share this video with everybody you know. This is page 44. Again, I'm not even come close to scratching the surface on the ridiculousness and evil of what's wrapped up in this bill, because wrapped up in this bill is the overarching idea that with a government gun, they've extorted funds from American tax slaves. That's what it amounts to. Title IV, District of Columbia. Federal payments for resident tuition support. What? For a federal payment to the District of Columbia to be deposited in a dedicated account for a nationwide program to be administered by the mayor. We can trust the mayor of the District of Columbia, right? Resident tuition support, $40 million. Drop in the bucket. Not my money. Who cares? Pfft, goodbye. See you later. For federal payments of necessary expenses. Necessary? Look, we have to learn by now. We have to have learned by now that necessity is the plea for every infringement of human freedoms. It's the argument of tyrants. It's the creed of slaves. And these tyrants wrote this bill and told you it was necessary to spend $18 million on what? For a federal payment of necessary expenses as determined by the mayor, of course, of the District of Columbia in written consultation with the elected duty or city officials of surrounding jurisdictions, $18 million to remain available until expended for the cost of providing public safety at events related to the presence of national capital in the District of Columbia. Still not even close to scratching the surface. Federal payment to the District of Columbia for salaries and expenses for the District of Columbia courts, $250 million, not thousand. $250 million, $88,000 to be allocated as follows for the District of Columbia Court of Appeals, $14 million, and then it just goes down the list of what all this is, appropriated for, dished out, meted out. Federal payment to the Court Services and Offender Supervision Agency for the District of Columbia for salaries and expenses, including the transfer and hire of motor vehicles for the Court Services of Offender Supervision Agency for the District of Columbia, criminals, as authorized by the National Capital Revitalization and Self-Government Improvement Act of 1997, $248 million on top of the $250 million and the 18 we just talked about. How easy it is to spend somebody else's money. $181 million shall be for necessary expenses of community supervision and sex offender registration. Can't we think of a cheaper way to deal with sex offenders? How about let's not keep up with them at all? How about let's not charge American taxpayers one dime for registered sex offenders? Why are we giving them 3 hots and a cot anyway? Why are we giving them Playboy magazine in their security cells? Why are we giving them time off to go out and exercise and have fun and watch HBO? 3 hots and a cot. Give me a break. There's a cheaper way, and I've talked about this way in previous videos. I don't want to say it again. Don't want to have my channel taken down. How about this? $44 million for what? For salaries and expenses, including the transfer and hire of motor vehicles, the District of Columbia Public Defender Service is authorized by the National Capital Revitalization and Self-Improvement Act of 1997, $44 million. And then it goes over what to spend that on. $2.1 million there, $52 million there. So easy. How about this right here? For a federal payment to the District of Columbia for the testing of individuals for and the treatment of individuals with human immunodeficiency virus, that's HIV, and acquired immunodeficiency syndrome in the District of Columbia, $4 million. Thanks, taxpayer. Thank you. We're going to take care of people with HIV, $4 million. While a lot of Americans are just struggling to try to get by. Homeless, 500,000 homeless people in America. Here's HR. I just went over just a couple line items. Didn't even span 13 or 14 pages, guys, out of 540 pages. Now we turn to the next minibus bill, HR 1865, further consolidated appropriations. And I just want to direct your attention to Title I. We're not even going to go any further than the first title. Departments of Labor, Health and Human Services, and Education or Related Agencies Appropriations Act for necessary, again, it's necessary, expenses of the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, referred to in this act as WIAO, just coming up with crap out of their asses. And the National Apprenticeship Act, not 3.6 thousand, not 3.6 million, $3.6 billion plus reimbursements shall be available in the amounts provided. Oh yeah, what's some of that going to go to? Hey Frank, what do you say we let's not take off a big chunk and go for $1 billion. Let's throw 913 million at something. Oh yeah, what do you think, Bob? What do you think we should throw it at? How about youth activities? 913 million, not thousand. 913 million. $130,000 for youth activities. Man, when I was in Boy Scouts, they didn't spend much on, paper mache and glue and tents and all these, the activities for kids. $913 million, almost $1 billion for youth activities. Are you even serious about this? Has anybody looked into this bill? $98 million for ex-offender activities under the authority of Section 169 of the WIOA. And it just goes on and on and on. And like I said, I haven't even come close to scratching the surface. So while you and I are busy trying to provide for our families, while you and I are trying to keep all the money that we went out there to earn, remember, $1 is still a Federal Reserve note and it's a note of debt, but it can still buy us food. It can still buy us clothing. It can still buy us insurance and shelter. And they're trying to take whatever you work for away. So $1 is a product of your time and laboring energies. It's a container of your time and laboring energies until you're ready to deploy it. And they're trying to reach further into your pockets to take money out for youth activities and HIV and funding the courts and Washington's District of Criminals. To the tune of $1.4 trillion signed off by the House, signed off by the Senate. It's going to be signed off by the president. And we want to go to a booth, a voting booth, and push a button and pull a lever so another ruler can rule over us and everybody else in our neighborhood? Oh yeah, because that worked out so good in the past, right? There's no way that could possibly go wrong. Guys, $1.4 trillion, we can't afford $1. We're already $23 trillion in debt. And if you count unfunded liabilities like Social Security and Medicare, it goes up to 120 to 150 trillion. We can't afford these appropriations. And then they're talking about impeaching a president because he withheld $391 million from the Ukrainians. And Biden was withholding $1 billion. Why are we giving that money in the first place? So guys, if you want me to, I don't know, guys, this pisses me off. This should piss every single one of us off. We're out there working hard and they're just spending our money faster than we can make it. However nefarious and evil and wasteful you think the government is, however far-fetched your imagination is on how evil and nefarious and wasteful the government is, it can't even come close to the reality of how evil and wasteful and nefarious the government is. That's how bad this is. And like I said, we haven't scratched the surface. Leave your comments in the comment section below if you want me to go over some more of this, because there's way more. I haven't even talked about it. In the last video, I touched on it a little bit. $25 million to the CDC to research gun control so that they can give it to a bunch of lobbyists, so they can give it to a bunch of bureaucrats so they can take more of your Second Amendment rights away. It's ridiculous. Not only do they extort our money at the barrel of a gun, but they use that extorted money to take away more of your rights and increase more of their power. That's the state of our world today. That's the state of America. And don't we dare, I'm talking about me too, go to a sporting event and sing, "O'er the land of the free and the home of the brave." Nothing could be further from the truth. This is the land of the fee and home of the slave, and we better not forget it because we're sitting right smack dab on a plantation, and every election year, oh, the sacredness of our democracy. We got to safeguard the sanctity of our election process. Why? So you can get another slave master once in a course of years? We're slaves on a plantation, and we don't need to be singing land of the free, home of the brave. This is the land of the fee, home of the slave. Guys, the only way I can break the YouTube censorship and suppression algorithms is if you share this video. Please share it far and wide with everybody you know, everywhere you can on social media, and I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video.